The inventory. Before you begin anything at all, run an inventory. Absolutely. Know what you have. So usually what I begin is whether information is stored on the file share, SharePoint, another cloud storage if you're on Box or you're on Google Drive, whatever that you're migrating from. You want to run an inventory, and there's a couple of ways to run an inventory. You can use third-party tools. You can use PowerShell. So a lot of the times I've been using PowerShell actually to be able to run and scan, whether it's file share, so system file PowerShell with Windows, whether it's a existing SharePoint using STS ADM command lines back in the days, or it's using the new PowerShell commands if you're on 2013 and up. You want to scan and know what you have. To know the existing metadata, the hierarchy of that repository, how is it structured, where are things located, and also who owns what. I'm going to tell you a kind of the strategy that I use when we do the migrations here locally in the Quebec region in Canada. Yes, I have a little accent. It's French. I apologize. But the idea is really to be able to know what you have and classify it because you cannot do the migration by yourself. Especially when you start going towards the SharePoint world, you're going to have content owners. You're going to have different people that own all of these different pieces of content, whether it's in marketing, whether it's in sales, and those are the easy business units that we refer to when we do examples. But there's going to be a lot more complexity to this that you're going to have to take into account. Do you have archives? Do you have librarians at the office? And you're going to have to scan all of that you have to identify whether or not you're even bringing it, right? There's always that folder with those documents that haven't been modified since 1998, and no one dares deleting them because it's not theirs. They don't own it, but it's in their structure. It's in their. So you have to put the responsibility on the content owners, and you have to set up some rules. If documents are not that you have inventoried, and I'm talking about documents, but in the context of SharePoint, if you're migrating from an existing SharePoint, you have to know what are the sites that haven't been used, what are the libraries that haven't been used, what are the lists, the content, the items, the documents that haven't been used, because you're not going to spend money, time, and effort to bring them to the destination. There's no point to this unless you need them for retention purposes. They're still in your retention schedule. However, 1998, I think that goes beyond any retention schedules. And I'm saying that because I actually saw that 3 weeks ago. So I'm not just saying, oh, 1998, I saw this. And then when I asked, no one wants to touch it. No, but it hasn't been modified, guys. But that's just the reality. So why just discover your surprises, help understand the projects, and obviously information that you're going to need throughout the project. The way that you can do this, again, manual inventory with PowerShell. There's many other ways to do a manual inventory. That's completely up to you. But there's a bunch of free tools from Microsoft. Then you can do your own report, whether it's going to be with Excel, whether it's going to be on a Word document. There's tons of ways for you to do this. Or, of course, you can run a third-party tool. A number of tools are available out there, and most of the time, the inventory piece, they will offer it for free as part of the trial of the software or as part of a free part of the software because it helps you get started for the migration. So, as part of the inventory, there's no reason for you to not have a complete inventory of what you have. And that's especially important because it's going to help us get to the next step, which is going to be the assessment. Once you know what you have, it makes it easier for us that are planning the migration to know whether or not you need to, you know, um, make a plan for it. How hard is it going to migrate this file share? Is it going to take 2 weeks? Is it going to take a month? Is it going to take 3 months? Well, that's going to depend on your inventory. How many files do you have that have invalid characters? How many files do you have that have invalid file names and invalid file paths that are not going to go in something like SharePoint? And how many files are access files that are not really well supported within your SharePoint environment for the whole database to run properly with your links? If you have a lot of Excel files that have a lot of formulas that depend on other Excel files, have you prepared universal data connection files? So there's a lot to consider that comes from the inventory in the first place before you can even start doing the architecture of the destination or even think of your migration.